Crumpets, and today we have Wynette Romin with Pearl Title. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And so tell us a little bit of history about Pearl Title. Y'all have 2 locations.
We do. We We have 2 locations. One in close to Birmingham, about 45 minutes, I think, like southeast of Birmingham, in Asheville, and then the location in Orange Beach that we started. I guess we actually opened our doors last August.
Yeah.
Really and truly. We started working on it before that.
Yeah, I was going to say, y'all been very busy.
We have. We have really picked up over the last few months.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, that's awesome. And then you've been actually doing titles way before last August.
I have been doing title and closing since 1993. Long time. I know. I took a break from it for a long time though, for about 12 years, and I did sold real estate. So,
Well, you still stayed in the same business, and realized selling might not have been the
selling's hard, as you know.
Yes, I just celebrated yesterday was my 21st anniversary selling, so it's hard to believe how fast it goes by though.
It does. I say that all the time.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing about y'all handle not just residential,
right?
Y'all do commercial, refinance.
That's right, we do.
Yes, and then one thing that I love to talk about is the owner financing.
Yes.
So a lot of people right now, with the way the interest rates are and maybe a little bit more strict with banks and such, we're starting to see sellers that own property outright, they're willing to do the owner financing. So give us a little bit of maybe people who haven't been involved in something of that nature, kind of like some information regarding that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually have a couple of those coming up next month, like I was telling you earlier. And the good thing about that is the agent reached out to me in advance so we could talk about it before she actually wrote the contracts up.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because when she was doing it, she was like, should I put anything in there about the owner financing part other than what the stipulations are?
Yeah.
And I said, actually, you should. What you need to really put in there is to show that a note and a mortgage will be done, because they need to understand that it's going to be recorded and it's going to be there.
Just like a bank.
Just like a bank, absolutely. And, let your seller also understand that we're doing this for a purpose, because if something happens during that time frame and they don't make their payments on time, or if they don't pick up and get the refinance done in the time that you've allotted, then, you have a right to foreclose and get your property back.
Yeah.
So you're actually covered. So these things are important to do, and you don't think about it when you're writing a contract.
No, you're just thinking, okay, this is the interest rate, this is the purchase price, this is the down payment, and like the terms of balloon notes.
Right, that's right, exactly. But realistically, those are the things that you need to add in there to make sure that the owner is aware, the new buyer is aware, and how it's going to work.
And your company, and you actually handle that type, the mortgage, the note, amortization schedule, things of that nature.
We do. We have an attorney in our company, and he actually puts those together for us after we get them all the details, and so we make sure that everything is covered in those. The same way it would be if you were a lender and they were signing the mortgage. It's no different.
Well, that's really good to know.
It is.
Yeah, because we're starting to see that a lot more now.
Yeah, absolutely. When we actually, those 2 properties, the owner has 2 of those, and they're doing the owner financing for both of those properties to mom and dad and son and daughter, and son and his wife. So
when they do, let's just say the balloon note's 2 years, and they can come back and do the refinance with your company, and then y'all go through and just release, the seller's note on there. So y'all are able to even take care of it after years down the road.
And that's something that I did recommend to them. I was like, when they get to that 2-year point, it would be good for them to come back to let us do it, because
y'all are
we're already so involved. It would just make it so much easier.
Definitely. And another thing that we're starting to see often now are tax sales.
Yes.
Where I've even had people who not just buying one in a tax sale where people don't pay their taxes, they pay it, and then there's a 3-year. If you pay the person's property taxes for 3 years, then you get a tax.
At that time, you will get a tax deed. And then, there's a lot of different processes there, obviously. You've got the time in those 3 years that at any given time, the owner could come back and redeem the taxes.
Yes.
They have to pay the tax amount that you paid plus any interest that's also there. So you get your money back if you have done it.
Yeah.
We've had several of those ourselves lately.
And of course, if people paying those property taxes, are like, please don't.
I know, it's true. It's very true
though,
but it's crazy how you see it these days.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people just don't realize that it actually happens until it happens.
Well, we have a lot of people down here, as you know, pay cash for the property, so it's not an escrow like it would be pretty much in a mortgage.
Right.
So there's been times where we've noticed even our clients just thought that, and two, they thought that it was an automatic exemption when they turned a certain age.
Right.
And we were thankfully able to catch somebody, one of my clients catch it, that she had not paid. It was still classified as an investment when she had moved full time. So she just assumed, just because she just didn't know.
They don't know.
And she was able to redeem the property, and the person had actually paid 2 years worth. So we didn't have to go down another route. But,
well, and sometimes it doesn't always necessarily happen that way too. Let me say that too, because one that we did like in March had been 3 years, and they had not gotten a tax deed. Now, it could have been that they just never went to pursue to get the tax deed, and maybe that's why. Or it could have just been that, maybe they forgot. I don't even know. Maybe, I see a lot of names that are buying property taxes and paying them out that are the same people. So, it could just be like, oh, well, we paid it, forgot to go back and go for it. Didn't know we had hit the 3-year mark even.
Yes.
So,
and they could also, I've noticed, for instance, the person that was my client, the person that had been paying their property tax, she was actually out of Texas. So she could have thought that there was a much longer time frame before she would. That might be why she didn't. Yeah. It's not like something automatically you get in the mail.
Right.
You have to actually pursue
that. You have to pursue that, absolutely.
Okay.
And, another
thank
thing
goodness for the property owners.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that
but,
protects,
if you are that person that's buying those taxes, though, hey, if you hold out on some properties, you can get a $2 million house for what, 60, maybe 60,000?
Yeah.
Well, ultimately, for what the taxes would be.
Yeah.
I mean, how crazy is that?
That is. And
and it happens though.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does. But it also takes a little bit. There's also some other things that go along with that. Yeah, you do get a tax deed. However, you also have to go and you're gonna have to get those people physically moved out of that house.
Yeah.
So there's another part of that you better be ready to deal with too, because you're gonna have some legal things done for it actually to happen too.
I had another property, and my clients were out of Texas, and then they had a holdings company. They had multiple properties all over the U.S. So this one just slipped through the cracks because obviously his assistant, did not know. But that house just happened to be vacant. I mean, so
yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yes.
I think that it really occurs more on houses that
are second homes.
No one's been there for a while, or years even, or maybe it was in a family, trust or somewhere. Someone passed. Nobody even thinks about it.
Yeah.
They don't go there, but or it's held up in an estate and nobody can do anything with it. But those are different cases.
Gotcha.
Those are different things that have to happen.
So let's say someone does receive a tax deed, and they want to go now and sell the property.
Right.
Are they able? Well, I'm assuming they are able to sell the property once they get the deed.
They are able to sell the property, but again, therefore too, you still are talking about having to get an attorney involved to make sure that you're going through the proper steps to even show that you can sell that property. Yeah, a tax deed is great. However, it's great if you're doing the right steps.
Okay.
And there are a lot of steps, and you're going to ask me the steps, and I'm not going to be able to tell you all the steps.
No, it's okay. We won't all do it.
Because I will say
this is just a little overview. That's why they got to call you direct.
Exactly. Yeah. Every case is different, and you never know until you actually pull all the, do a title search, get all of the details, and to, actually see where you're going with that.
Yeah, because I had sold a property, and my client was purchasing another property. I was telling her about earlier in Grand Bay, which he had a buyer's agent. I wasn't involved, but he wanted me to be involved just because he trusted me and just was, wanted to make sure that, he was taken care of with that agent.
Sure.
And he ended up purchasing a property that was in a tax sale, and the person had passed away, and it was like maybe 13 years or so. And he still went through and purchased it, and then the attorney had to put in the newspaper and try to contact the heirs so that they would have X amount of time to possibly come back and redeem, which was a very unlikely situation just because of what was owed, what was the word,
and everything too. As well. I mean, that's why I say there's so many different variations of what can happen with these and what is going on with them. I mean, someone that's just not been paying it outright just because they're not aware that they even needed to pay. By the way, you would not believe the amount of people that have no idea that you have to pay property taxes. So, I mean, that seems to me like a big question all the time, especially with new buyers or people that are younger. They have no idea. So, you know, it does happen.
Yeah, it does.
But then when you bring it to their attention, they're like, oh, wow, I didn't know, so let me take care of that.
Exactly.
But if you do get lucky enough to get one that's like that, vacant, that hasn't been touched, or no one's been there, or there's nowhere to even find anyone, then probably you got a great deal.
Yeah,
so
that's true. And so that type of deed that person would get, not the one that's that's already got
deed.
it, a new deed. Like I bought it, or I pay the taxes, got a tax deed, I decide to sell it. They don't get a warranty deed.
No, they get a special warranty deed or a statutory warranty deed. That would actually have some language in there that basically covers that.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, so that, I mean, there's a lot more. Like you said, it's case by case.
It is. There's a lot more.
That's why y'all are the expert.
Yeah, exactly.
Just contact y'all for all the, in between fine details.
No doubt. If you're getting a tax deed, make sure that you get with someone, an attorney that knows all the parts and pieces to it before you go, trying
and then
to sell
you start, fixing things up.
That's another thing too. You definitely don't want to start putting money into it until you know for sure
you're not going to lose it.
That's right. That's right.
And speaking of losing property, we're starting to see possibly some more foreclosures popping up, just the way the economy is. And
that's right.
A lot of times we're in a second home market, an investment market. They're not going to let their primary go, but they more likely will let their second home or investment. Unfortunately, they have to relieve themselves of some financial burden. And so. With the way our market is, it very well could have been foreclosed on less than what the value is, or maybe more, but there is a thing called foreclosure bonds.
That's right, there is a redemption bond.
Redemption bond
is what they really are called, because with foreclosure you can redeem a property as well as So a redemption bond
within a year.
Right, that's right. Well, with that, it's the same as what we talked about, like if it's certain amount of the foreclosure amount, and if you're buying for more than what the foreclosure price is, then if you have a lender involved, or even if you don't, you want that redemption bond because it's going to cover that difference. And if something were to happen, then it's kind of like car insurance, or when you buy a car,
like gap insurance.
Gap insurance, right? It's just
gap insurance
it's
for the house.
It's basically exactly what it's like. So you get that coverage, that bond, and it will guarantee that if something happens, or if a fire, or whatever it may be, you still got that coverage that's going to help.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I purchased my house back in 2010, it was a foreclosure, and my purchase price was less than the foreclosure price. So I was protected. The bank was protected. The lender didn't. I'm not saying he didn't know, but he just automatically said, "Oh my gosh, it's still within the 1 year right of redemption. You need a redemption bond," which was going to cost me close to $2,000. And I said, "No, I don't." I said, because I got my foreclosure designation, so I learned, and which knowledge is key. It is, because it saved me $2,000, because I had to explain my purchase price is less than that foreclosure amount. So everybody was protected.
That's right. And the thing about that is like, just like you said, you have your certification in that, and that's huge. And I think that anybody that's an agent should do the same, because I'm telling you, knowledge is the best power that you could have in this business.
Some money. It saved me $2,000 right there.
And it helps your clients too. Then they're aware of it too, because that's another cost up front that it could have for your clients that are buying this property.
And everybody automatically thinks when it's just the person who is on the deed is the only person that can come back and redeem.
That's not necessarily true.
It's not. It's their heirs.
That's right.
People who had liens, lien holders can come back, and so if they didn't pay, a contractor, they have the option. So that redemption bond, if it's going to be more than what that foreclosure amount, that just shows, hey, there's some equity in there that somebody is going to more likely going to possibly try to.
Exactly. Oh no doubt.
No, I think that's some good information, especially with what we are seeing right now. We possibly might start seeing some more, foreclosures. So you just never know.
That's right.
And then also, title searches. I mean, there are certain things that title searches do not reveal. And what are those?
100%.
A couple of examples.
I mean, at any given time, there's encroachments or encumbrances that we may not pick up, that might not be anything on record of. So, there's lots of times that there are, easements that are out there that we do see that they're Yeah, they are recorded. But then there's sometimes some people have an easement that they have some kind of agreement, and we don't know anything about it because they didn't
just
record
a neighborly
it.
handshake. Like, hey, sorry, my shed's half on your property, but you can still use it.
But you can still use it. We don't have a problem with that. But then
the new neighbor, the new buyer.
That's right. The new buyer that comes in, they may have a problem with it and want Mr. Ed to sell or move it or whatever because it's on their property by 2 feet, and they would have a right to do that.
Yeah.
But we do see that, and the best way to handle that too is to get a survey done.
Yeah.
I don't say you have to have a survey on every property by any means, but what I do say, if you have some doubt about something and you see it and you're curious, then maybe you should get one just to make sure.
And so, for instance, what a title search can't reveal, a title policy can't cover.
That's right.
So that's something that people need to realize. Like, title insurance is just, you need it regardless. You just need it.
Absolutely. Yeah. We had one recently that we did on a cash deal, and they did not want to search. They did not want the policy. That scares me to death. I'm not gonna lie.
I just sit back like
I know, and you would be amazed. And I understood
just because they want to save a couple of thousand.
Well, I understood the side of it. I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to give away who it would be. Obviously,
confidentiality.
Yeah, exactly. But the reality of it is, for me, is like I feel like everybody should always get at least a title search. If you don't want to, it's owner's title policy is completely up to you. It's optional. But if you do a search and there is something that you're not sure of or that can't be taken care of, then you have it and it would cover you. You know?
Exactly.
So I always say, it's better to be safe than sorry.
No, I don't think I've ever sold a property in 21 years that I've ever seen someone say, no, I don't want that. And if they have, I've found out like, no, you're going to get it. Like, well, I don't want a phone call later.
No doubt. And this was my first that I have ever seen.
And since 93.
Yeah, it's been a very long time. So I've never seen one that didn't at least get a title search done.
Yep. And so now mobile homes and deeds. This is something that's that you see and recommend. So mobile homes, sometimes the deeds won't reflect the mobile home.
That's right, they do not. Because lots of times when someone buys the property, it didn't have a mobile home on it in the first place.
No, they end up putting the mobile home on
afterwards. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then when they get ready to sell it, everybody just assumes that mobile home conveys too. Not necessarily, because it's not on that deed, that current vesting deed, obviously. It has to be added at some point.
I see.
And so,
and then y'all cross-reference with the tax revenue department to see how it's classified. If it's fixed as real property,
if we see it,
it will show in the tax.
It will. It will show up. If they are already showing it with some value there, then that prompts me to go, okay, there's already being seen some value there based off of the property taxes, so they're seeing it, they know it's there, and they're saying it's worth something. So then my question is always, okay, have they had the title surrendered to the state? That's the first step. The next step is, if that's been done, was there ever an affixation affidavit file showing that property has? First of all, the wheels, the axles have to be removed. It actually has to have some kind of sort of strapping to the foundation. It has to be
because other than that, it's like an RV. It's just it's like a vehicle.
Exactly. So those are the first things that we look for. And a matter of fact, I had an agent not too long ago. I had to send him out to see, and he literally had to climb underneath to find out. And I told him, I said, I'm sure that was the highlight of your day. And he's like, it was fine.
Like a hazmat suit.
Exactly. He said it was fine. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. So we kind of laughed it off. But you have to know these things. And you don't always know.
Because based on when you receive our contracts, and you just see a property address, and then you go back and you look at their previous deed, it mentions nothing about a mobile home.
Right.
Let's just say at that moment you just think it's raw land because there's nothing in there about the mobile home conveying, which you're suggesting as a realtor when we make offers, or we need to make sure that mobile home is stated in the purchase agreement. So that way there's no questioning whatsoever, and then at that time, even if it wasn't, it'll be on the new deed.
As long as there's certain steps that have been done, it should be placed on
meaning
the new,
real property
should
like
be,
fixed to the property, wheels
all the
removed, things of that nature.
Titles have been surrendered to the state. The judge of probate has signed off on it. And then, of course, and even now, like before any of that happens, if it hasn't been done, the the actual tax assessor's office will still go out there and put a decal on the mobile home itself that shows that it's
surrendered or considered real property.
It's considered real property.
Like a house.
Because it's absolutely. We have to actually have a picture of that as well, because title actually requires us to have all those things.
Oh yeah, so I knew that they need the numbers.
Yes,
so.
we have to have all those things. But once all that's done, then we can turn around when we prepare the new deed, and we can add also including that mobile home, exactly what model it is, all the stuff about it, the information. And the funniest thing about all of that is if a mobile home is older than 20 years old, it doesn't matter either way because it's been sitting there that long. So it's already considered attached.
Okay.
So there's a little
caveat saying like, okay, this is 20. If it's been there for 20 years, it's automatically like considered attached, surrendered.
Right. Yeah. So little difference there. So you have one loophole out of all of that, and that's it.
Yeah.
But if it's a newer one, it's got to be done. So,
Well, I appreciate it. I feel like we covered a lot of important things. I mean, with the tax sales, the redemption bonds, the mobile homes. I mean, because we do sell a lot of mobile homes here.
We do.
And, just with, these mobile home properties are not cheap either. So.
No, they're not. And that's another thing too. So when we do see contracts come across and it's, a lot that's like $255,000, I go, okay, that's awesome. That's a great lot. Where's it at? And then I go, oh, it's on Canal Road. And then I'm going like, wait a second.
It's all Water Lane.
Exactly.
It's a mobile
home. And you find out and it's like, okay, now we got to see if it's truly worth $255,000.
Yeah.
So definitely.
Well, I think this has been great, and I really appreciate all the information, and I think this is a world of knowledge, and I hope that people watching was able to learn something. And we'll have your contact information. If you have questions, obviously call the expert.
Give us a call.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you for watching.